those are the things that I had on my list. So a little bit of work, a little bit of health, and play.
Yeah.
I think our
Yeah.
little play.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to get to do some play with that, like finding clarity where you want to go. Like, I think that's something that you enjoy
I
is
do.
that kind of research and like digging in and diving and like exploring, right? It's
Yeah.
like I say research, but it's more exploration,
It is.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I don't know. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. It's kind of good things.
Yeah.
Right.
Welcome back to In Residence. I'm Keith.
And I'm Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Keith.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing swell. What are we getting into?
So today we are coming up on the beginning of the new year. And we often take a little time to reflect on the year in the past and how that went and look forward into the new year. And we don't really set resolutions. We often pick a word or something, a theme for the year, just because resolutions, at least for me, I'll speak for me, they haven't necessarily yielded in great accomplishments.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I found that I kind of like a looser guideline to help me throughout the year to just stay on track.
Yeah. Like you said, the reflecting and then looking forward. And this is after we talked about being present, right?
Right.
And so it all feeds into each other. And I found that this has been really helpful for us to do over the last few years. So I'm excited. And where do you want to start?
So I thought we could start with some of the reflection pieces and thinking back over the last year and talk through some of those things. And then shifting next after that to some of the looking forward pieces and then end the episode with what our word is for the year.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it kind of, this morning we were talking and I wasn't quite sure what my word is, but going through this process helped me solidify what it's going to be.
Yeah. I'm like, save it. We'll hit record. It'll be great. We'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I thought so.
All right.
So, okay. We came up with 3 just very basic questions that we could kind of work through. And so I'll just start with the first one and kind of throw it to you. We started reflecting by thinking about what things made us feel the most alive over the last year. And you often talk about work, relationships, health,
Yep.
and play.
Yeah.
Right. And so, in what areas of your life over the last year did you feel the most alive across any or all of those areas?
Yeah. For me, it was probably work or like the projects that I was working on. And I really felt it in the last several weeks where we were working on the facilitation of the workshop and creating that. I noticed that gave me a lot of energy and I liked it. I was like feeding off of it. And with most of the things that were coming up as I was reflecting, the theme came up again of, oh, that was giving me energy, but it also took energy.
Right.
And I think that might be one of the main things that kind of stuck with me from this year is that like, oh, that was a little bit of a nice thing to realize is that both things can be true. And usually the things that give me the most energy don't come for free. Like it takes a little work.
Yeah.
And it definitely doesn't, I get more energy than I give it. And I think if it's the other way around, that's like when you evaluate, like, okay, how can I not do this as much? But,
right.
And so I don't know. And that might come up with some of the other things that we were, kind of reflecting on, but work seemed to be more of the focus. The focused action was my theme from last year. And I feel like that's where most of my attention went, for better or worse.
Sure.
Sure. But yeah, I got quite a bit out of working on the projects, working on our podcast. Like we finally made the transition to doing video.
Yep.
And that took a lot of energy, took a lot of work.
It did.
It took a lot of
more work for you.
Well, yeah, and like
mental work for me, I think.
Yeah, and same here, and like leaning into that change and that switching it up, and we had but like once I did it, I was like, oh, if it feels like we've been doing it longer, and I'm like, oh, that's good, because now if I think of like, well, if we go somewhere and we're not thinking of, do we have a recording done, and we don't have a way to record video, I'm like, well, do I want to record if we don't do video? Because I'm actually like, it's part of the process now.
In the past, we were kind of, or I'll speak for me. In the past, I was like, oh, shoot, we don't get to record video.
Right.
No.
Yeah. So
that's too bad.
Well, and I think even that might have been somewhere to hide, where it's like the video.
Yeah.
We could have made decent videos on site of us having vacation somewhere with not that much more effort. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been fine, because like the thing I hold on to, and I think it's true, is people care more about what it sounds like than what it looks like.
Sure.
And so I think trying to not like use those excuses, I guess I'm just happy that we don't have that excuse anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we've done video, and it's not like they've all been amazing, and I hopefully they keep getting better. Like, I'm using some of my presents that I got right now. I hope it looks okay. Like,
we'll see.
Like, like I invested in, not getting things I didn't necessarily need, which is kind of me. Like,
you're a pretty practical person.
I like having useful things, anyway, getting some lighting has brought me joy.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, work has stood out, and that's telling. And I don't know if we don't necessarily need to go into that right now, but there are some spots where, because this also brings up for me thinking about what gave me energy and like what kind of lifted me up, but at the same time I got to think about like what drained me.
Yeah.
And I definitely ignored my health, like my physical health for sure, not giving that enough attention. But I am glad that I've given the attention that work has needed to kind of get to where we are now.
Yeah.
So anyway, how about you? And we'll see if anything else comes up.
Yes. So, what made me feel the most alive this past year landed in two kind of buckets. And I think one was similar to you, our projects that we've been working on together. So the podcast, having us elevate it as we're going along, adding video, starting to do workshops for folks, things like that, based as a podcast co-host team rather than just Keith or just Laura, like we're collaborating with that. And so that's been really fun. And it's brought me a lot of energy. And then the other thing too has been around spending time with family.
Yeah.
And so my word last year was grounded. I wasn't quite sure how I was doing in I think there was an episode, was it in October or something like that, where I'm like, what was my word? And but I really did carry it with me and prioritize family and things like that throughout the last year. And so I wrote us going to Sweden as a family was great. I know you were hurting the whole time. That didn't make me alive, bring me alive.
You're right.
But having time with my parents, with child 1 and 2 and you in Sweden was just really magical to me. And so being able to unplug and really focus on family time in the ways that I have, not just Sweden, but throughout the year, that has been something that's really recharged me and grounded me throughout this year.
Yeah, so that's something I don't want to ignore either. But I think the reason I didn't bring that up right away for me, for like relationships and stuff, is I think I'm a little too hard on myself, and I'm like, oh, I could do better, but I need to look at it the other way. And because one of the things that gave me a lot of energy was like being a tennis dad.
Yeah.
Sure. It's like the second year, like I kind of knew what was going to happen, but then there were still some new things and some fun things I we got to embrace, like having him doing overnight stuff, and like us getting to go travel and watch him for like a whole weekend kind of thing.
Yep.
and, and same with like traveling with you and the kids and the family and going places, and then also part of that was starting to grow my friend circle back, or like
Yeah.
recover
Yep.
it kind of. And like, okay, we need to make sure we pay attention to our friend groups, and like, how are we going to do that? Like, it's tricky because we're all middle-aged. We're all like busy and doing things. And so,
Right.
but that's on there for me too.
Yeah.
And then play, same thing. Like I, it probably needs to be a little more focused so I can like say like I gained some of the things that I want, because like for me it's like learning and
Yeah.
practicing.
Right.
But I do plenty of play. Like I get plenty of relaxation.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me it's the relationships and the work really stood out, where I put in the time, whether I realized it or not, you know, and then
Yeah.
it was like, ooh, okay, that felt good. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. And then you already kind of shifted to the second question that we had around challenge and change and uncertainty, and really thinking about what did you learn about yourself when you experienced challenge and change and uncertainty. And the reason I'm thinking you shifted to this slightly is you said the one thing that you didn't take care of necessarily was your health and your wellness.
Yeah.
And I wrote that same thing down, is that one thing I found is that when I was met with a challenge or change or uncertainty, I told myself that you're good at change, you're good at handling ambiguity, you can keep going. But what I learned about myself is that even though I'm telling myself that, I don't pay attention to my health through that process, which is something that I don't want to necessarily continue to be the case. Right. So I would lose sleep. I would work, a lot and just get sick. There was just a lot there. Um, but that was one thing that I thought was an interesting aha, and it aligned a little bit with what you shared too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like when I was writing about that, there was a lot. And then I'm like, at one point, I'm like, what am I even trying to say? And like, I felt like I was like going around it. And part of me is wondering why I can't give the same rigor and time and space to my health and well-being
Right.
as I do a project.
Yeah.
Like I give work, I use all the skills and all the tools that you need to accomplish your work and like finish a project. I do it for that, and
Hmm.
like for creating a workshop and making sure it's the best it can be. But then it's like I don't go and I don't do the consistent and persistent thing of going for a walk.
Yeah.
I, I don't use the time management for that, but I'll use it for planning and scheduling and creating a spreadsheet so that I can, you know, time block and do a time study of like what I'm doing for a project, like
Right.
it's like, dude, just apply that to the health category. And I like just embrace it.
Yeah.
So that was like one of the things that just like, I wasn't like mad at myself, but I was also kind of like, just do it. So
Well, I think that's the one thing I know we talked about a couple times ago, that I've thought, gosh, I'm just not focusing on my health and wellness. And then when I think about it, I look back, I go, but I did do 3 days of lifting weights this week. Or wait, but I did do my physical therapy, you know? And so it might not be perfection or what I thought I should do. But I do think um, it was something, right?
exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so where that popped up for me was shoveling. We had
Yeah.
another snowstorm, like 7 to 10 inches of snow again. And for I think the reason my brain is doing it is because it's a chore,
Hmm.
and so then it's work. But if I look at my heart rate and the amount of activity I'm doing and compare it to like when I go to the gym and set that time aside, it's like the same, because it
Yeah.
was like heavy wet snow for the first 2 hours, and then
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
just consistent and just going through
Mhm.
and just the motions. And I'm like, I just worked out and I don't realize it, And so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so if I can do that activity, I can do these other activities that you would think would be even more enjoyable because I'm choosing them.
Right.
You know? So but that definitely popped up for me of again, it took a lot of energy,
Hmm.
but it gave me energy. Like I felt better after doing it. Like I felt accomplished, you
Yeah.
know? And the same thing with like most exercise is like even it's like moving your body, it
Hmm.
helps your mind too.
Yeah.
And so the other side of that was I've been making a point of taking care of my head, but ignoring taking care of my body as much as I want to and need to.
Hmm.
That's going to catch up with me if I don't. And then I'm going to maybe start feeling not so great, like up here, like, you know, if my back goes out again because I'm not staying on top of like the PT or like just simply getting steps, you know, it's like
Yeah.
it's at that we're at that point where if
Mm.
if you're not maintaining, you're kind of getting behind, or you know, or like if I don't stretch, like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I can't stretch quite as far as I used to because I haven't been doing it, you know. So that's kind of it's all up in there too. And like I'm like, oh, like all right, I'm like, okay, like let's get back on track and
Yeah.
embrace the snow.
Embrace the snow.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that.
But yeah, I called it the three C's, even though it was uncertainty, but like to me it's also certainty. It was like, what
Hmm.
was it? Uh challenge,
Challenge, change, uncertainty.
change, and uncertainty.
Uh huh.
And I'm like, I know I don't like those. Most people don't. Um, but I am getting better at it,
Yeah.
and I want to keep developing those skills.
So, what did you learn about yourself when you were working through moments of that?
Let's see what I wrote down. I don't even remember. Honestly, the biggest thing I underlined it twice.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Nope. Go for it.
Um, I need to process and reflect, which is what we're doing.
Yes. Yes.
So not to be funny, but when I set the time aside to do my personal inventory, to you know look at these different life accounts that you mentioned at the beginning,
Hmm.
um, it sets me up for the week, but it also gives me time to think about the stuff that we're talking about right now, right? And making sure I'm working towards my goals and my aims. And I simply operate better. I'm a better person in all facets of my life when I invest in me by taking that pause that we talked about
Hmm.
last time
Right.
and 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 it's just like an investment in myself, right? And so
Right.
it's all connected to what we were just saying, I think. But it, it's I literally like underlined it twice because I'm like, you know this.
Hmm.
It wasn't that hard for you to think about, like, but it's like I need to process and reflect.
Yes.
And it's like for me, at least a weekly thing, and you know, because I do miss it every now and then in the mornings, but I'm trying to do it more and more. And
Hmm.
I don't want that to sound daunting because it can be. And like, because some days I'll be like, oh, I forgot to take some time yesterday, and then I feel kind of bad, like, oh, I didn't do what I was
Yeah.
supposed to do. But I don't want it to feel like that.
Hmm.
So it's more of the point for me is like, oh, I didn't do that, but now I have the opportunity to do it. What about you? What popped up?
uh, well, I am trying to think. So, one thing that I learned about myself, and I think I knew this as well, but that I'm incredibly hard on myself, and that being hard on myself and trying to move towards something being perfect or just right um, isn't necessarily helpful in achieving what it is I want to do. It tends to slow me down. It also tends to make me not feel really great about where I'm going. And so that was something that you can feel that, I guess. But again, it was a little bit of an aha to me that I've always told myself, like, you're really good at change. You're great at ambiguity and uncertainty. And to realize that that's true, that is something I believe to be true about myself. I also am really hard on myself when I'm going through those things.
Yeah.
And I learned that even though I tell myself I'm good about change, and like I was saying, I'm good at this. it doesn't mean that I'm always kind to myself through the process.
Yeah.
And noticing that allows me to call myself on it.
Yeah.
Because that's not necessarily fair always to be like, oh, really disappointed you didn't get that. It's just like, oof, why show up that way for myself?
I think
You know?
yeah, I think this is one of those times where like you're coming at it from above where you believe you can do it well, and like, and I'm the opposite where I'm like, I am not good with change, and I really am kind of struggling, and like I'm trying to avoid becoming emotional when I'm in that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I think that maybe I get a little like up in my feelings when I'm getting like resistance and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I resist the change, right?
Hmm.
But so just like how you're saying, like you believe you're good at it, but also it's kind of hard.
Yep.
And then I'm like, I don't think I'm that great. I mean, I'm getting better at it.
Hmm.
Like I know I'm getting better at it because we keep talking about it and it's helpful. But at the same time, I got to realize like, and yet I can still do it. Like I have these tools, you know,
Yeah.
I'm aware enough, you know, and I like, I'll lean into uh certain thing grounding exercises or whatever if I start feeling myself kind of like getting anxious and like wanting to say no. Like just my first reaction shouldn't be no. Yeah, you know, I need to get I think it came up maybe with something else and it might come up again, but like, you know, getting curious
Hmm.
instead of just saying no
Right.
kind of thing, you
Yes.
know,
Oh, that's
or
good.
when there's uncertainty because uh things are up in the air, well, how about I ask a question?
Right.
That's being curious, you know?
Yeah.
How about I get some clarity, you know, instead of ruminating, you know,
Yeah.
or thinking of the worst thing that could be happening. Um, so
Yeah. That could be good.
yeah, so I know my tendencies and I know what those soundtracks want me to do.
Yeah.
But if I can catch myself, ground myself a little bit and say, okay, now what would help me move through this, you know, like,
Right.
so I think we both can move through it and we both do move through the change and the challenges.
Yeah.
It's just that we have different approaches, and I always think it's kind of funny when I see that happening with us.
Yeah. You were kind of shifting there too about moving through and like figuring out how to kind of move things forward. And the last question that we're kind of shifting towards a little bit are about what are those rhythms and those things that we have in place now that are really helpful to us that we want to carry forward into the upcoming year. So, what are some of those things that you thought of when you reflected over the last year that you want to bring with you
Yeah,
into 2026?
was it like? I thought that question kind of like as we were getting it together, it was rhythms, boundaries, and decisions,
Choices.
choices I've
Yep.
made, you know, about moving forward, right? And then so again, this is where it goes back to that, like the thing I wrote down is like I need to reflect and I need to process.
Yep.
Like I need to create time. So that needs to be part of my rhythm, you know, and whether it's daily or
Yep.
weekly, I just need to make sure that it's in there. It's best for me to create the space to like writing seems to be the best for me, but also having conversations, obviously with you,
Yeah.
um, or a friend or somebody, just as long as I'm not in my head the entire time.
Yeah.
Because getting it on the page or saying it out loud to somebody is really helpful. And so creating that rhythm where I don't let that fall away because I'm busy or I'm
Right.
focused on work and like getting caught up in that. It's like if I, you know, like we kind of hinted at, it's like if you ignore something, it kind of seizes up and then like takes a little more effort to get it free and you got to like spray like WD-40 on it, you know, and like
Yeah.
anyway. So I mean that's the first thing that popped up for me. Um and I don't mean to constantly go back to reflection necessarily, but
Sure.
a lot of it is the processing, and I think they just kind of go hand in hand. So I always tend to write them down at the same time. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
I very similar to you, but contained in a morning routine for me. And so that's one of the rhythms that and boundaries I would say that I set up is that my morning, the first hour to 2 hours is pretty well set during the week where I have journaling as a part of that every single day, planning for the day and the week every single day, movement, coffee, reading, enrichment. And and so that really is a kind of a I don't know if it's a rhythm, but a routine. A routine.
To me, that kind of fits into like that boundary of like protecting that,
Yeah,
like setting up, making sure that nothing impedes you in that.
yeah,
Like it's a pillar for you, right? Right?
it is. And I know when I'm not in sync with myself, because I start looking to that time to do extra work, to try and get those Christmas card or holiday cards done. I try and pack more of the logistical check things off type things. And that is not what that time is for.
You're finding busy work to keep you from doing the harder thing, I
Well,
think.
it's not even the busy work. It's just where can I find more time in my day? And oh, look, it looks like this is great time I can repurpose for just this one time. Is normally what I say to
Right.
myself. And after I start to realize I'm repurposing it more and more during a week, I go, time out. Nope, reset. You got to find a different way because this isn't sustainable. That's one thing I'm definitely, so I think you're right. It's a rhythm, but it's a boundary
Yeah.
at the same self that I've set up for myself
Yeah.
against to protect myself from me.
Yeah. And yeah, yourself or something that might come up is like being able to say no to things so that you can keep saying yes to the thing that sets you up for more and better
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that I wrote down is that I also really like setting up the boundaries around our weekends and our vacation time of trying to make sure that we have a nice balance of spending time with other people, but also making time for you and me, and also making time for us with child one and child two. And I feel like we've done a really good job this year of trying to balance that. And although we might not be everywhere for everyone at every time that people want us to be there, we do our best to make it a nice balance so we're able to do what it is we want to do and prioritize the relationships we want to prioritize. And sometimes that's saying no. I don't know if we've talked about this explicitly lately, but sometimes saying no means that you can say yes to
Yeah.
something different.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because I am very much a people pleaser. And so my yes comes almost before I even think about it. I have to do a lot of work to pause and say, okay, can I get back to you later?
Yeah.
Can I think about that for a couple days? Because it probably should be a no,
Mm-hmm.
but the yes comes out and then it puts me in a predicament. I've gotten better, I think, at that, but it's just something good to know.
Yeah. I think that let me think about that or let me get back to you was one of those things that was a nice unlock for me. And you're the one that told me like that was something that you used. I'm like, I will have to try that. For how much I say it, I want to say no.
Yeah,
I don't say it as much as
you don't.
I feel I want to say no.
Yeah,
I do want to be helpful. I do want to be in all the places and hanging out with all the people and doing all the things. But when I don't set up the boundaries to protect my time, I get sick, I get crabby, and then nobody wants to be around me anyway.
hmm,
So it's not that I don't want to do the things, it's that it's better if I don't. And when there is time and it's available and I don't have to cram something in between two other things that I've already committed to, that's when we'll have a better time, like
yeah,
connecting with somebody that,
yeah,
just happened to call and like, hey, I'm not doing anything. Are you free? And I'm like, um, I want to say yes because we haven't seen each other for so long, but I have to say no.
yeah,
I've got to be somewhere in 2.5 hours, and I don't want to fill that time right now because I
yeah,
need to be present when I get to where I'm going to go, and I actually, what I'm finding is I'm setting my schedule more so that I have the time in between to have that. I don't know if it's like a debrief with myself or just not hopping from thing to thing. And I don't do it that much, but when I have found myself getting busier, and I'm speaking to the choir right now or whatever, like with you, like I don't need to tell you this. Like it is so hard when you have to go from thing to thing to thing, and I don't even like. I'm talking about that, and you're the one that does it. Like that's what you do for a living, is meeting to meeting. So anyway,
can I share with you a quote that I came across when I was doing preparing for today
yeah,
that just resonated with me, but it's not something that I am going to necessarily have be my mantra for the year or anything, but I thought it was super, super helpful.
yeah,
So it was a quote by Melinda Gates. Here it is. I just thought it was good. It's all about schedules and scheduling. So the quote is again from Melinda Gates: "If I didn't fill my schedule with things I felt were important, other people would fill my schedule with things they felt were important." I think that's really important to remember that everyone has priorities and other people's priorities can really take over your schedule and what you intend to do and want to do. And so it's really important that you figure out what are the things that you want to do and schedule those. And that doesn't mean it has to be an appointment that you're completely out of pocket. Is that the out of pocket?
I don't know.
But that you're committing to yourself, right? So maybe something that's important to me going into the next year is making more time for intentional movement, strength training, walking, things like that. And if I don't schedule that or make time for that somewhere on my schedule, somebody else is going to have something important that they are going to put
Yeah,
there, right? And that's not just during the workday. It could be anything from, even you and me, like thinking, it's very important that you and I connect during the week.
hmm
But say I wanted to work out on Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and that's when we do our Zoom calls right now. If I didn't say, hey, Keith, I really want to work out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, go to the gym, lift some weights, and I didn't name that, you would say, oh, let's do our Zoom call on Tuesday, Thursday, right? I can make both work in that scenario because they're both important to me.
yeah,
But it's about communication and making sure that you're kind of owning your schedule and being responsible
yeah,
for making room for the things that matter to you.
yeah.
So,
I think obviously I'm going to see something similar to that around this time from the people I follow too. But I think it was Greg McEwen, like,
sure.
and his work has spoken to this a lot. Is uh, the essentialism and making things
Yep.
effortless. His is similar, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's like if you don't make your priorities, somebody else will.
Yeah.
And I think part of that, and coming off of what you said with that, which is like, wanting to make sure you're working out and, getting to the gym and your morning routine, something else that came up for me, and I think I was talking to you about it, or else I was just writing about it. But I want to, I have the capacity to embrace being a little more busy and seeing how I do.
Yeah.
Like, did I tell you that? Like, I
You
should,
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Uh, and I've tried it before, but maybe half-heartedly or not quite, like, didn't stick with it for like the however many days that Atomic Habits say it might work or whatever. But I think I've gotten better at planning my days and like creating like an overarching week. And I wasn't when I tried doing this before, I don't think I was as good at it. Actually blocking out the time and saying, okay, I am going to go work out and I'm going to do this, and like adding a little more
Right.
to my capacity.
Yeah.
I'm like that's something I'm looking to embrace, and it just kind of popped up because of what you were saying. But I'm gonna need you to help hold me to like, hey, remember when you said like you were gonna do a little more? like, like I think I can do it. And I think that might
Yeah.
work for me. It's because it's the same as like the energy I got from working on the workshop.
Sure.
I was busy. Like that took a lot of effort, right?
Yeah.
Like And I'm like, oh, people do this for a living. Holy moly. And I'm like, but then like after working on it, I'm like, I got something done. Right. And
Yeah.
so I think that's maybe where it came from again, is I was like, it's kind of fun to be busy,
Yeah.
but within reason. Right. Like, so I'm not trying to go all the way to one side here, but I just, this interesting balancing act. So anyway,
Yeah.
what else you
That's
got?
good. Well, those were the main three
Okay.
questions
For
for
reflection.
reflection. Was
Yeah.
there any final thoughts on the reflection piece?
Um,
I mean, I think it's important, but you know me, I like to focus on where are we going. So you're a little bit more in the camp of let's really take from the past, bring to the present, where I'm like, let's look at the present and figure out how we're going.
One of the things that kind of stood out to me from reflecting was, and what I just said speaks to it, if it's work, it kind of takes care of itself for me.
Yeah,
And I think with most people, that's the same. It's like work takes care of itself. So that's why, like, when I'm writing and taking inventory, I don't start with work, or I don't try to.
sure.
As I've seen from looking back, it's like, oh, I didn't quite give as much to the other places. I didn't practice guitar as much as I wanted to. Like, that's
Yeah.
play, but and it's a hobby,
Hmm.
but it's something I'm passionate about, and even more so now that the kids are into music so much
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And then friends and growing that circle again.
Hmm.
It's only just now starting to happen as we're turning into the new year. And it's like, we've been talking about that since maybe 2 years ago,
It's
you know?
okay.
It,
It's progress, right?
yeah. Yeah. So just realizing that if I stick to the, like, my protocols that I've found work, which is making time so that I can think about what I want to do with my time,
Right.
I can do more,
Yeah.
or I can be more creative when maybe different things are competing,
Hmm.
and I can get curious about, okay, how can I not necessarily do it all at once, but if these are all things I want to prioritize, like, I can schedule and I can plan, and
Hmm.
just like I would do for a project, I can plan for me,
Yeah.
what I want. So, I mean, there's a lot there, and I mean, just basically to sum it up, like, the biggest thing is, like, reflect, process it, and, like, it helps me stay on track for what I'm aiming to do.
Right.
So I don't quite, so because I don't want to lose sight of my bigger aims and my intentions. And when I reflect, then I get to, like, look at, like, those small wins that I've
Hmm.
done, like those goals that I'm doing throughout my weeks lead to me achieving the bigger picture things. So,
Right.
um, and I probably need to take more time to do a little more detailed dive into stuff. Like,
Hmm.
I'm due for like a quarterly review.
Sure.
Well, of course I am, because it's going to be the beginning of a quarter.
Yep.
Duh. See, I really do,
There you
because I
go.
don't even know what quarter it is. But hey, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, reflect. Imagine that
Yeah.
reflection is something that comes out of my reflection, my historical context. Sorry.
No. Well, and I think for what it's worth, or if it's helpful, I think you're in the same boat as I am with work, is that we both really love what we do. And so there's something about it's helpful to examine all of those areas, but to really realize that those areas don't just stand alone. And sometimes it's going to be more work than relationship. Sometimes it'll be more play than work, right? And just being able to be open to that ebb and that flow. I find I do better when I don't get too structured around what am I doing, when's the stop and the start for which area I'm performing in or acting in. Um, and that doesn't mean I'm responding to email at 10 o'clock at night and midnight, things like that necessarily. But it might mean that I'm reading a book that's going to help me personally and for work before I go to bed. It might mean on a commute, I'm listening to a podcast that's going to inform something that I'm curious about that's going to help the podcast and work, right? So those lines are a little blurry,
Oh yeah.
right? So
Well, I mean,
in a good way.
That's life.
Yeah.
And same with, if I focus on my health a little more, that's going to improve every one of my life accounts. It'll
Right.
improve my relationships by being able to do more things that the kids maybe want to do or other
Sure.
friends want to do. It'll, like, imagine going to the gym, feeling that those endorphins that you get, right?
Yeah.
And like, and then you go to work and you're feeling better because you worked
Yeah.
out. It helps
Yep.
everything. So
Sure
it's
does.
just another example of like what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all connected. And the only reason I I zoom into one or the other is because that helps me process it.
Yeah.
But then
Right.
cramming it back together, because like tomorrow when I wake up, I'm not going to be necessarily like thinking, okay, what am I going to do for my health today? It's like, no,
Right.
that's why I sit down and I write, because I'm going to pull it apart and then I'm going to go live it, and
Right.
it's all going to happen at once on top of each other, and like all these different dimensions, I think. Anyway,
Right.
I'm rambling.
Do you want to shift to the new year?
Let's do it.
Okay. So again, we had 3 questions that we looked at, and maybe we could share these questions in our episode or on our website, something
Yeah.
like that. So if people want to do something similar, they
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
So the first question was about what qualities we want to embody. Embody. What qualities do we want to embody as we move into the new year? One of the things I thought about was I want to be steady and consistent and focused. So I feel like over the last year, I've had some starts and some stops, specifically with writing, specifically with my project around writing, specifically around some of my wellness goals. And so having focus and being steady and consistent and showing up when I don't want to show up anyway is important to me. So that's something I want to bring into the upcoming year. How about you?
There's going to be quite a bit of overlap here, because the way my brain worked about it, because I went back and I found what were kind of my focuses of the last few years.
Hmm.
And uh it's kind of like, what are those things I want to bring with me, right? Is like, I just because like last year was, my theme was like focused action,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean I'm done with that in 2026,
Right.
right? So I thought of kind of as inequality, but like, um I had consistent and persistent,
Hmm.
and like you said, consistent, and I'm like, nice.
Yeah.
um Intention, I want to make sure that I am being intentional, with my time
Right.
and my actions, and who I'm giving my energy to, and
Sure.
where I'm I'm choosing to put it,
Hmm.
um focused action, like I said. And so there's a lot of different qualities, I think, that come up with that. But for the most part, I just want to make sure that I'm not forgetting like what I set as my intentions,
Hmm.
and use that, like we talked about, as like, what's my North Star, and for me, it's always you and the kids,
Right.
in my relationships, and my whole life,
Right.
like, the reason I work is for my family, and for me, so
Right.
don't get me wrong,
Sure.
but like, that is one of my through and through North Stars, is like, I'm not going to make a decision that negatively affects my family,
Hmm.
in work, or in, like, I'm not going to go off on a like a week trip and just like leave you guys alone. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that would be a lot of fun and play, if I'm off with my buddies doing something, but that's going to take a lot of planning, and like, I can't just do that, kind of
Yeah.
thing, like
Yeah.
unilaterally. So I don't know. That's just, but that, anyway, that's just where my brain went, is like holding on to those things that I have been building on, and just making sure I'm carrying them forward.
And it's interesting because again, I know you're often very grounded in like the past and how do you tether it to the future? And one of mine was being future focused thinking. So I want to be future focused in my thinking and act today with the future in mind. And so it's almost like when I get to this point, I'm like, okay, 2025 was great. But from here on out, how am I acting in the present to build the future I want tomorrow?
Yeah.
And so I think that's what makes us so powerful as like a partners is because you have that nice tethering
Mm.
um, to bring forward and connect forward.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's partially because, like, I don't know if it's because know where I want to go,
Sure.
but but it's more of when I do something, it's for a reason. And so then kind of to what you were speaking to is like, what am I building on to get me to where I want to be tomorrow? So I'm kind of doing that even if I'm not quite sure where I'm going. And so that's why I'm not like, I don't easily cast aside what I've done, which is good and bad. Because sometimes I'll hold on to something a little too long.
Sure.
It's too precious. But you've helped me in some of the other work I've done through things that either you've had me read or you've like kind of enlightened for me, and other people is like how to be a little more future focused,
Hmm.
um, and and not being afraid of not knowing, like, and simply being able to say something like that I remember like a few years ago, it felt so vulnerable to state a goal or a dream,
Yeah.
and like, oh, I don't want to say it out loud because what if it's like you think someone's going to laugh at you or something,
Right.
you know, it just feels like that. And now it's more of like, well, if I pay attention to what I'm feeling and what I want, and then I think of like, how am I going to obtain that? And then I work it, I work and I create goals and like steps and all these things. It's like, whoa, okay, I can actually achieve that. It's
Yeah.
it's 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 pretty wild. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, these shifting towards the future, these ones all start kind of melding together for me. So
Okay.
I don't know how fast you want to move, or if you have something else you want to
Sure.
say. But
No, I mean, moving
um,
into, I mean, that does go into what is it that you feel is ready to be nurtured or expanded in your next season of your life or in this next year.
yeah, and so I think I kind of went into this pretty quickly after thinking of like the qualities or like those, that consistency and being persistent and having intention, and then okay, I have an intentions, now I got to focus
Yeah.
and achieve the goals to get to that intention and that aim I had.
Okay.
And so this might not be a surprise, but when I break down thinking about the next part, I break it into health and work and
Okay.
relationships and
Sure.
play. Steady progress, for my health are things that I want to nurture.
Yep.
Um, my drive, my execution, working on the With Keith and Laura project that,
Yeah.
this podcast and the other things that are like we kind of have in the back of our
In the
heads
works.
and
Yeah.
in the works, and it's on paper, and like when are we going to start executing on that? Relationships, I want to be present, connected, finding joy, friend circles, like, so
Yeah.
stuff I've already kind of said, but like actually writing it down and knowing like these are my aims.
Sure.
And then like with play, it's like I kind of want to get back into making sure I allow myself to have that wonder we talked about and the awe. um Learning, I love to
Mm-hmm.
learn, and like I said, just spending a little more time playing guitar and dedicating some of the my passion to craft, and another part of that is woodworking.
Yeah.
um that's something that kind of lights me up, is like creating with my hands. Like, um I have really enjoyed over the last couple years, and this year in particular, noticing even like creating digital like graphics or podcast, right?
Yep.
It lights me up. And so just making sure I embrace those things, right? So that's
Yeah.
that's where I'm at with that.
No, that's great.
How about you?
Things that I think could be nurtured or expanded. One is around health and wellness.
Yep.
So going into the last couple weeks here, my IT band, I think, is super tight to the point where it's just it's yeah, my it's not great. it hurts. I always feel like I'm complaining about something that hurts on my body, um, but I'm working through it. What is it? Motion is lotion, right? Isn't that what they say?
I don't know.
So,
That's a good one though.
so I lifted weights today, trying to loosen things up and stretch and we'll get there. We'll get there. But health and wellness is definitely one of the areas I'm ready to tackle in the upcoming year. And continuing to work on our projects, the podcast, our project that's kind of in the back of our heads and on my whiteboard in my office, and then continuing to post on social media as well has been something that really I've enjoyed over the last couple months. About a year and a half ago, I was talking about how I was so anxious about posting anything on social media, and I still am. How many times I'm like, Keith, you got to go see, is that okay? Should I take it down? Is it all right? Should I take it down? Is it all right? I should just leave it. Is it fine? Is the picture okay?
And I'm like, it looks great. And you're like, well, what about what I wrote? I'm like, I didn't really read it.
They're like, can you go read it?
I'm like, okay. I'm like, it's great. It's good.
Because it's still a part of being seen that is new, but it's exciting to me to be in a place where I feel like I can share my authentic self on social in a way that aligns with what I believe in. So that was pretty cool. And then the other thing that I feel like is ready to be nurtured in the upcoming year is trying to figure out my career path. So I've been going back and forth about, do I want to be a college president? Do I not? Do I just really like what I do now? And I think in the upcoming year, I'm ready to start journaling and thinking more about that more intentionally. Not for a shift anytime soon, but just to try and explore and understand, where am I really at with this? And if I do want to go that route, what things do I need to learn in the next couple, several years to get me ready? So, um, yeah, those are the things that I had on my list. So a little bit of work, a little bit of health, and play.
Yeah.
I think our
Yeah.
little play.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to get to do some play with that, like finding clarity where you want to go. Like, I think that's something that you enjoy,
I
is
do.
that kind of research and like digging in and diving and like exploring, right? It's
Yeah,
like I say research, but it's more exploration,
it is. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. So
Maybe,
kind of good
maybe.
things.
Yeah.
Right. So then kind of shifting, like you said, these kind of meld together.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to look back, say we're sitting here 1 year from now, and you are looking back, what would you be proud to say that you protected, honored, or made space for over the last year?
Yeah. Health, my, taking care of my mind and body.
Yeah.
Um, Probably number one. I will be I'll be ecstatic if I reach the goals and like I have a name and I have these goals that'll help me reach that. So if I can stick to it and I can get on my way to that,
Yeah.
I will be I'll be pumped. And then like again, then I would go to like relationships, right?
Yeah.
Spending quality time with family and friends, right? Making sure I prioritize that.
Yep.
Work, making sure I'm moving our project forward. I've got several tasks and things that are going to help us level up. I'm excited for that, and we can dive into that some other time. And so that's work and play, like I said. So pretty much everything I just said, but like the biggest one for me, and the thing that it'll like 10x everything else I want to do, is if I take care of myself.
Yeah.
And that might mean I have to shift my schedule around and figure out some things. So that might be a little tricky, but like I've got to prioritize that, because it's going to make everything else better,
Yeah.
like exponentially better, if I'm working out doing all those things that, make me just feel good in my own skin kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
and I want to.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Mine are pretty
Yeah.
similar. So making time for lifting weights and health and wellness pieces, spending time with family, in
Hmm.
particular, you and the kids,
Yeah.
my parents, your parents, our
Yeah.
sisters, then making time for our projects and advancing things that we believe in and hope add value to people's lives. Yeah. So those are the things that I hope over the next year we'll be able to, or I'll be able to move forward.
Yeah. So you have these goals that are serving this thing that you say you want, right?
Hmm.
Do you write those down like on the inside cover of a notebook or like a journal for the year, or like me, I write them down and then I just kind of carry them forward, and like I'll check back in when I'm doing my reflection. But
Hmm.
so like I have a weight loss goal. I have that written down. So like I'm not going to lose sight of it. I know what it is. And then I'm going to like kind of just, okay, what's my goal this week? What I want to do, and like I hit it or I don't, but I'm going to keep going kind of thing,
Right.
and I don't want to get, super bogged down in like measuring 1,000 metrics and stuff. But if measuring 500 helps, great, joking.
I was like,
I'm just saying, I want to make sure I'm taking account of what I've said I want to do. And
right.
I was just wondering if you have like some other method beyond simply writing it down, you know?
Yeah. So my main method is journaling every single day.
Yeah.
And even if I don't think I have enough time, not trying to get into the perfection
Yeah.
of journaling, like it has to be a half hour, it has to be 45
Yeah.
minutes. Sometimes I will say, I have 5 minutes. You're going to download what's in your head right now. And you're going to talk about where you're at health, wellness wise. You're going to talk about what's stressing you out going into the day, what you're looking forward to in the day, where you need to show up as your best self during the day.
There's always something you can write for, even
Absolutely.
if it's like 3 sentences, like even, or if it's like, if for me, it's those 4 life accounts. If
Hmm.
I simply just check in and say, all right, how's my health? And it's like, oh, I did not sleep well, I'm going to prioritize, taking it
Right.
easy today and drinking water, and then your relationships is like, oh, I didn't get to talk to Lori yesterday because she had work late. And then I was busy doing this with the kids, make sure I
Yeah.
connect,
Right.
and so forth. But that tends to be like what I do on a busy day is like I write the date and then
Hmm.
4 things, and then I'll write to myself, get it after it.
That's all you got to do.
So
Right.
yeah.
So, do you want to shift into, did you pick a word yet?
Hmm.
Should we
I've had mine for a
unveil our
couple weeks.
words? You've had yours for a couple weeks?
I think so. Well, maybe a week or two.
Okay. Well, you're a pretty prepared fella. So,
It just came to me, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
okay. What is your word, hon?
Measured ambition.
Measured ambition. Okay. Tell me more.
I want to be measured in kind of how we talked about is can't be all in
Yeah.
on one thing. I need to pay attention to what I'm giving my attention and energy to. So therefore I need to be measured, need to be aware of what I'm doing. And then as I've talked about many times, I think I can be more ambitious. But again, I don't want to go all in any one way. And it's not just ambition for work. Like not like I'm just gonna, burn out. It's like I have ambitions in relationships and in the things I want to do for fun and in my
Yeah.
health, so I want to not do it all. That sounds weird if I say it that, but I I can be consistent and better in all of these areas, and it doesn't have to like be painful. Like it can be
Right.
measured. And the other thing that popped in my head as we are talking is like we reflected, and that's great, and then now we're looking ahead and we're starting to get like these big lofty goals and ambitions, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it's all over time. And
Mm-hmm.
like I might have an aim of like, say I want to lose X amount of pounds in a year. Life happens. And I'm good at being a realist, but I also want to be an idealistic about, okay, what can I accomplish?
Yeah.
But so, and it goes both ways. Like I don't want to be too hard on myself, but I don't want to be too lackadaisical about it. So
Yeah.
it's, mostly I want to be measured, but like I like pairing these things because it helps me realize that if I'm measured, that means I can lay back. But what I really want is I want to be measured about the things I want to go after.
Sure.
So anyway, that's where I'm at.
I like it.
Yeah. How about you? What do you got? Did you
Okay.
figure it out?
I did figure it out. Okay. So the word that I'm going to be going with this next year is transform.
Ooh.
And as I was doing some reflection on what this should look like, I came across a quote because I was trying to think of a quote that would inspire me when things got hard to be like, no, your word is transform. And this is why we're doing it. Right. And a quote from Billie Jean King popped up.
Ooh.
Pressure is a privilege and champions adjust.
That.
And so this is how I'm thinking about transform. So this is my mantra. The work that I've done some work on is I will treat pressure as a privilege, adjust with purpose, and allow this year to transform how I lead, create, and inspire.
You wrote that?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm gonna get that printed out and put on the wall behind you
What?
so I can see it every day. I need that.
I will treat pressure as a privilege, adjust with purpose, and allow this year to transform how I lead, create, and inspire.
I love it.
Yep. So that
I know we're coming up with quotes.
is my well, no, but I'm motivated by quotes.
Yeah.
And this year I'm going to get myself a bracelet that has that so I can carry it with me and remind myself that that's my word. Pressure is a privilege, champions adjust.
Yeah.
Right?
That's great.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
when I heard that for the first time, I was like, that is amazing.
yeah.
I'm glad that you remembered that because I haven't thought about that in a while.
Yeah, I had some other front runners from Brene Brown and Oprah, but can't go wrong with Billie Jean King.
No, it's great. Awesome.
Yeah,
Should we wrap it up?
I think we should.
All right, let's get out of here.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you too. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.